and Nick Durst, live on the UCY.TV network.
Hey everybody, welcome to Spam, Sports, Politics, and More. I'm your host, John Brown, and I'm joined as always with my co-host, Nick Durst. Nick, how are you?
I am doing well. It's episode 24, and we're spamming your radios coast to coast and all around the globe on the UCY.TV networks right here. And John, it's the first show under the Trump administration. How's that feel?
I gotta say, it's pretty amazing. For anyone who's living in a cave and not paying attention, he's checked a lot of boxes. A lot of people were saying, a lot of the detractors were saying, he's not going to do this, he's not going to do that. He's done quite a bit of his campaign promises already, between getting rid of the burden of Obamacare, building the wall, stopping the refugees from countries that have terrorist actions. So far, so good. This is amazing. If the rest of his presidency is like this, we're in for a lot of winning.
We are in for a lot of winning, and we're also in for a lot of whining, because we have a lot of people out there who are just ridiculously stupid. But hey, if you want to call in and with either side of the discussion you're on here, we want to hear you. 718-717-8296 is the number to call, or reach us on the UCY lobby chat. We'll be reading your comments there. And of course, you can tweet us. I'm at Nick_Durst. John is at SA_sports. We got a special 10 at 10 tonight with the phenomenal one, AJ Pollock, calling in, of course, our field reporter. And yes, he did cover the inauguration for us in the field, as he's supposed to do. And his 10 at 10 is going to be the 10 most memorable moments from the inauguration. So we're going to hold off on our inauguration talk right now. And instead, we're going to talk about just Donald Trump as president so far. And John, big thing happened today with the stock market, isn't that right?
It is. So, as a lot of people know, I do a little bit of dabbling in day trading. Really low level stuff. I use the Robinhood app, which I cannot suggest. It is the best. I can't suggest even more. It is the best app out there. So, Nick, I'm not sure if you dabble as well, but basically what it does is it lets you make trades without any type of fee. So there's no trading fee whatsoever. The difference between that and E-Trade charges you about $6 or $7 per trade, depending on how big they are. And the way that they make money is that you can only trade cash. They won't let you leverage, so you can't short a stock or anything. But so I'm on the Robinhood app all day long, and the stock market is doing phenomenal. It's over 20,000 for the first time ever.
History.
The value of the dollar and the forecast, the demand forecast is like, it's amazing. It's insane. I bought a penny stock about a month and a half ago for like 35 cents. They recently got an FDA approval, and they like quadrupled overnight. I sold it for $2.80, and I paid my mortgage last month with basically Donald Trump money.
Beautiful. Does not get any better than that. So yes, history already. The stock market's been on a rise since Donald Trump became president-elect. Now President Trump has the stock market at an all-time high. Expect more of that, especially with the high tariffs on these foreign countries if they're going to take our business. And yeah, so other big news, the wall, it's happening, right, John? And the big thing you mentioned before is lessening the burdens of Obamacare. Now, for listeners out there, John, why don't you explain a few things here? First, what Obamacare was originally intended to do. Two, what ended up happening with Obamacare and how it didn't really come through. And maybe you could even say, what is the purpose of Obamacare really? Who is it supposed to be helping and who does it actually hurt? And then finally, a little bit into the Trump administration's plan for healthcare.
Yeah, so to show that I'm not a partisan hack who's just like a crazy Republican talking head, I'll quote Bill Clinton on this, where he said that Obamacare is, quote unquote, the craziest thing in the world. Basically, the purpose of it was there was about 20 million people in America who were uninsured. And then, so this gave them an opportunity to get insured. The idea, though, is this is really just a pseudo way of redistributing wealth. So by forcing people to buy health insurance without getting, if you don't buy it, you'll get the penalty. The idea is, you'll have a lot more people in the pool, and healthy young people will pay money, and they won't use a lot of services, so it will drive the price down. Very much like communism, it works great on paper. It seems wonderful. The difference is people, and economists will tell you this, people aren't motivated by, altruistic needs to help others or things of that nature. They're very much motivated by, essentially money. Money's the number one thing that goes on. So the idea that, you're just going to have all of these young people who don't make a lot of money buy health insurance, they just didn't do it. Not enough people signed up. So basically, there's a lot of different things out there where the price for the entire exchange was just skyrocketing. So you get people that would normally not be insured who are now insured. Yeah, great. That's phenomenal. The problem is, to make that sort of reasonable, you have to have the premium so high that now you have families who have health insurance, they have Obamacare, but their premium is $3,000. So to use it for anything that's less than $3,000, they just pay for it out of their pocket. So it's almost like not having insurance at all. And what it also did for employers, so now when you have employees, you have to give them health insurance. It's illegal not to have health insurance for full-time employees. So the cost of health insurance for everyone else went through the roof. For me, at my last company, I was getting Blue Cross Blue Shield, and it was $1,200 a month for my family plan. That's a mortgage in some other states. That's ridiculous. And it wasn't like, it was $1,200 and everything was free. I still had a deductible every time I went to the hospital or a doctor. And when I picked up prescriptions, it sucks. It's terrible. And basically what was happening is you have people with pre-existing conditions who they use a lot of medical insurance, and they're in the system. You have people that, are healthy, are not in the system for a multitude of reasons. Workforce participation, new college grads not even get enough jobs, and people not working full time. So basically, it's an unsustainable system, and it's you have Aetna pulling out and a lot of other big health insurance pulling out because essentially they're just losing money. There's a really, really good Wall Street Journal article that was written a couple of months ago, and it was the idea that $1 trillion was lost in that marketplace just by us wasting money. So it was a good idea, sort of, but I think they purposely took the teeth out of it because they wanted single payer. Single payer
is going to, under the Trump plan, is going to be eliminated, and I think it makes sense. They're going to knock down the borders and with the states of healthcare. You have everybody compete, and then it lowers the price, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And Donald Trump has very much adapted the Rand Paul idea of not only do you knock down all the state nonsense so you can let people compete all over the place, but you also make it so that people don't have to buy all the same insurance. So if you're 20 years old and you're a waiter and you're in college, you don't need the same insurance that I do because I have a young child. So you can get catastrophic insurance, which is a lot less, and it only covers if you get in a car accident or something crazy, But your regular doctor's visits, you'll pay out of pocket because they're once a year for the healthy young person. Very much the model is trying to get similar to, say, car insurance, where if you're healthy and you don't go to doctors, your price will, go down. And if you're sick, your price is going to go up. But in reality, their prices were going up anyway. So I think a free open market will drive prices down. You have to let people compete. And I think the one big thing that Donald Trump is going to do, and one really good thing he's going to do, is change the malpractice laws, because the malpractice laws are really like a gigantic piece of the pie. It's about 60% of your health insurance is because doctors have to charge so much because they have to have all of this insurance because they get sued, all the time.
And before I continue here, comments in the chat. Jules says, John's right about the penny stock. You can get biotech for a few bucks a share, and they're all going nuts. And she said she wants to know what was the name of the trading service you use, because E-Trade used to be $50 a trade.
Yeah, I used to use E-Trade as well. You can download it on your phone. It's mobile only. It's called Robinhood, and it's really great. So it's a cash only account, so you have to deposit funds before you can trade. So they won't let you leverage any type of credit like E-Trade or Vanguard or one of the other trading companies. But there's no trading fees whatsoever. So you can trade something in the morning and make it traded at closing or after hours if you want. It's really, really cool. The way that their business model makes money is they sell your trading data to people that trade futures. So it's really like they gather market data through you, but who cares? It's free trading.
Exactly.
If you're trading under $25,000, so you're not an actual day trader, if you're just doing this as a hobby or as like a side gig, then Robinhood is right up your alley. Also, I would check out the subreddit Wall Street Bets. It's a lot of crazy people. They say crazy things, but there's a lot of really good knowledge in there. There's some really smart people who contribute to that community.
And any more questions like that or anything else, just drop them in the chat, tweet us, call us, your choice. The 10 of 10 is coming up soon, but we got other things to discuss first. We gotta end. This is probably one of the last times to talk about the Obama administration. But John, what was going on with them sneaking that money to Palestine over the weekend or last week? $200 million?
Yeah, they tried to anyway. I don't know if you follow Drudge Report, but Donald Trump actually froze the money. He decided that it wasn't finalized yet, and he just put the kibosh on it. And good. I'm glad he did, because listen, it's insane. The idea that he's giving, we give an enormous amount of aid to a lot of countries. I understand that, but there's something that's like disingenuous about this, like sneaking it in there at the end. But no, the Trump administration was able to freeze the funds, and it makes sense. Listen, the Palestinians are very much a terrorist-sponsored state.
Absolutely. And another thing here is we need to take into account. Donald Trump has made clear that Israel is our ally. So, we know Obama did not care about Israel. So this was just another slap in the face to Benjamin Netanyahu. And hopefully him and Trump have a meeting sometime soon.
I believe that they're supposed to meet pretty soon.
Yeah, and then all right, so let's try to get Andrew up here. But as you do that, I'm going to just say, there's a lot of people, a lot of whiners out there, and they are just complaining and making things up right now, or they're believing the fake news, which is fake and great stuff out of Donald Trump. Inauguration, the day after inauguration, Saturday, in front of the CIA, calling out the fake news, and they're very worried because Donald Trump could go around them, and he could just use Twitter, and that's why he's president, because everyone knows now not to trust the terrible news stations and magazines and stuff, and of course with the fake images that the magazines and television stations put out of the inauguration hours before it even occurred, which was fake, and then Trump, he just put out the actual picture. Looked like there was millions of people there. It looked pretty crowded. But yeah, so people should not be mad that Trump is willing to sit down and talk with these foreign leaders. Like, why is there such an uproar over the fact that he may have a meeting with Vladimir Putin? Don't you think that the United States, which is definitely the biggest, country in terms of everything in the Western Hemisphere should meet with the biggest country in terms of everything in the Eastern Hemisphere? Like, doesn't it just make sense for them to try to be on good relations and maybe work out things together? I mean, what's your take on that, John?
Well, I think the whole the Russians did it nonsense was really completely overblown and just nonsense. It's very much a political hack nonsense, and the whole, even on the face of it, it was just they're interfering in our elections. We got caught tapping the Prime Minister of Germany's phone the other day. 2 years ago. We interfere with everyone's elections all the time. It's sort of like how it happens. When you frame it as interfering with an election, you think, oh, they're messing with the voting machines. They're not. What they did was, which allegedly they did. WikiLeaks said they didn't. So I believe WikiLeaks more than I believe any of the government officials, just because WikiLeaks really doesn't have an axe to grind when it comes to something like that. They have a 10-year track record of never being wrong. So I tend to give them the benefit of the doubt here. But I gotta say that the Russians they're helping us fight ISIS, which we armed very much so. There is no such thing as a moderate rebel. We need to stop arming rebels, and we need to deal with only legitimate, real leaders.
Sorry, I have a feeling that Andy's going to discuss Trump's speech, but one of the most powerful things he made in his inaugural speech, right in front of Obama, he called them what they are: radical Islamic terrorists. He didn't call them ISIL. He didn't say, those people. He called them, he just referred to what ISIS is: radical Islamic terrorists. So I was very happy that was the case. And at this time, we do welcome in from the field via his mobile device this evening, Jason Pollock. Andrew, it's time for the 10 at 10. The 10 most memorable moments from the inauguration weekend. Take it away, Andrew.
Okay, before I begin my list, first of all, Nick, John, can you guys hear me very well?
Yeah, you sound good.
Oh, thank God. See, I knew my cell phone would work. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, this week's 10 at 10 list, as promoted earlier on knickknacknews.com today, the 10 most memorable moments from Donald J. Trump's inauguration.
All right.
My usual.
We're all waiting very impatiently here. It's 8:18. Take your time with these because we know they're great. There's a lot to discuss, but obviously, as always, 10 to 1. So number 10.
All right. So number 10, we're going to start off with the women's rights protesters that took over the country this past weekend. And the most memorable moment was that dumb liberal communist Madonna who threatened to blow up the White House.
Right. So that was a disgrace. Me and John are on the same page here. Madonna needs to be locked up because that people have done way less, like, call up a fake bomb threat for a mall or something, and they've gone to jail. This lady is calling on people to go blow up the White House and said she thought about it. So she needs to get her head examined and be examined by the proper authorities. She needs to go to jail because she is a major star. She can influence crazy people. All it takes is one nut job, and we could be having bad things. So, John, what do you think about this, crazy woman Madonna who needs to just go away? I'm sorry, she's past her prime. She makes terrible music. Her halftime show a few years ago was awful. She fell off the stage, which was funny. But it's time for her to get locked up and go to jail.
The whole, I completely agree. Listen, it's a felony. If I committed the same exact felony, they would lock my ass up. So it's not that she has an opinion and I want her to, I want to stop her freedom of speech.
And John, keep in mind the Secret Service is now monitoring her.
They should, as they should. She actually tweeted out F Donald Trump and F the Secret Service, but then I guess her lawyer or somebody told her that's not a good idea, so she went out and deleted that tweet afterwards. But
And
Here's the
obviously,
thing.
we got a lot of people fired up in the chat. Jewel saying, "I definitely think Madonna needs to be slapped. It's called inciting violence." And of course, here we have the Baconator. He says, "If we were here doing what Madonna did, we'd probably be in jail the next day." You're damn right we would, Baconator. You'll all be locked up, and we never see the day of light, never again.
Yeah, she's like an old, irrelevant '80s pop star who had a pretend English accent for a while. She's not relevant whatsoever. Coming out against Trump isn't exactly brave. It's sort of like the hip thing to do. It really doesn't make any sense. It's just
and then sick of her. She's terrible. But to address the first point in number 10, John, the woman, they don't even know what they were really protesting for the most part, because who do they support? Hillary Clinton. And who was Hillary Clinton taking money from, John?
Saudi Arabia.
And what does Saudi Arabia think of women?
Women are a second-class citizen. They are not even a second-class citizen. It's like man, goat, little bug, woman. That's the hierarchy in Saudi Arabia right now.
Yep.
So if they really were about women's rights, they'd be marching on their embassy instead of just marching around in pussy hats.
And there was a great viral video that went around. Did you happen to see it with the man who was just riding his bike he happened to be riding his bike and he got caught in the middle of this protest, and he was like talking about, this is if you don't support your president, you're gonna lose your democratic rights and whatnot. If you look on YouTube, we type in Trump supporters surrounded at women's LA march, and he's just saying what is the truth. He's saying, hey, if you got a problem, leave. You gotta leave. And all these dumbasses come up to him saying, he's not our president. Well, yes, he is. And his response was, well, if he's not your president, then what are you doing in America? You got to get the hell out of
here. They're dumb feminists, okay? They have no clue what to even think about this man as our president.
Right. And Lena Dunham, another dumbass, she needs to get lost. And the guy's name is Big Joe. So look up this video.
I did see that.
Very good. I'm going to post a link in the chat, guys, and a few ladies out there. Make sure you watch it. Not now, of course. Watch it after the show. But very powerful stuff. The guy knows what he's talking about. More comments here in the chat. Otto said she should be in jail, referring to Madonna. And then Big Eater said, especially if you said it when Obama was in, then you would get a hate crime charge too. And Hopper said rightly so. And yeah, so it's just crazy that she's getting away with this. But number 9, Andrew.
Okay, we're going to go with a light subject. At number 9, we're going to say the presidential parade.
Okay, some parade. John, an annual tradition. Lots of military marching, obviously. What did you think of it?
Honestly, I don't know. I didn't really watch too much. I will give a couple shout outs. Ivanka Trump showed everyone in the world how to wear a pantsuit. Goddamn, smoke show, super hot. And I gotta say, Melania looked very professional, very regal. She reminded me very much of Jackie O. She's very much stepping into that, that model. I like that a lot. I did like George Bush in the background acting like a dweeb, like he always is. I was very happy about a lot of things.
You said it best to me. What was on George W. Bush's mind while he was at this inauguration?
I would probably say, I don't know.
His paintings. He was thinking of what he's gonna paint when he got back home.
Oh yeah. He's actually a really good painter, and I think that shows you that maybe you should let your kids do what they want to do with their lives instead of pushing them in something they don't want to do.
Yeah. All right. So number 8, Andrew.
Okay, we're going to go with the presidential ball. And we have to honorably mention
Which one?
Melania Trump's dress.
All right. So 3 balls. Anything that really stuck out in particular to you, Andrew, or just them in general?
No, the Melania's dress.
Melania's dress at the ball, that would be number 8?
Yeah, because I don't know. She's so elegant the way she dresses. It's stunning that we have a first lady who knows how to dress properly.
All right, so I'll add to that is that in the last ball that they attended, obviously Ivanka, she don't like the public speak, and I don't blame her. But it's her second language. There's a lot of pressure on her. But President Trump made her speak, and she said the right thing. She said, "We thank you, and we're going to make America great again," which we will hopefully see. John, any thoughts, comments on Melania?
I thought she was very respectful. First of all, she's a supermodel, so that's why she looks amazing. And listen, it's not just her second language; it's her fifth language. So she speaks 5 languages. So obviously, public speaking in English will be extremely difficult for anyone. And also the hyper focus that I could tell you right now, I don't remember what George Bush's wife sounded like, but the amount of pressure that the media puts on the first lady is it's astounding, and it sort of floated over to Barron Trump now as well. The media, the 24-hour news cycle has really gone crazy.
Media, shut up. Please stop. No, not you, John. I'm talking about the liberal media. Shut up, liberal media. Stop making fun of Trump. Barron Trump. Please. He's not. He has nothing to do with any of this.
Yeah, and luckily that SNL writer, no wonder why SNL's been so awful these last 2 years, because we got this writer over here making fun of a 10-year-old kid. Ridiculous. Luckily she was suspended. But geez.
And that's when Rosie O'Donnell claimed that Barron had autism.
All right, well, Rosie, her and Donald don't get along. Yeah, so let's move on from that. Barry Corbin did nothing wrong. And now they're saying, oh, what? Is there trouble with Melania and Barron not being in the White House till June? No, what's wrong with the kid being able to finish the school year with his friends before he moves into a new place and is totally scrutinized with the other students? Do you actually think it's a good idea for the first child, or not really the first, but the only one living in the White House, to have to start school in Washington, D.C. in the middle of the school year? I don't know if it would be the best thing for him. So I have no problem with Barron and Melania staying in New York with security until June. How about you, John?
Absolutely. Listen, first of all, I think it's the right thing to do. He's only 10 years old. I think that one of the things that people focus on him a lot is because he's 5'9" and 10 years old. So he's really, really tall for his age. So people, I guess, assume that he should be older, but he's 10 years old. He's in 3rd grade. Skipping him in the middle of the year to take him out of a school in New York, to take him down to DC, and it's not just moving like anyone else, we would move. It's a super crazy, hyper, Secret Service, and then all this other stuff. His life is going to be, extremely stressful from now on. There's no reason to do it in the middle of the school year. Let him start fresh next year. If anything, there's no reason for it. Why the media is even reporting this is asinine to me, because you think about all of the executive orders that Trump's passed already. He's doing a lot of actual stuff that you can actually report on. There's no reason to report on what the hell his 10-year-old son's doing. It's just it shows you that they go after the lowest hanging fruit. And a 10-year-old kid, oh, he claps awkwardly, ha 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 ha. It's just it's really disgraceful.
Yeah, and what 10-year-old will be comfortable with a million cameras in his face? People saying things about him walking into the White House or whatever. You think the kid has ever been walking and had 50 cameras in his face at once? No, he's a shy 10-year-old kid who has to deal with the craziness that is the fake news. Today, there are fake news reporting that Donald Trump plans to get rid of PBS, and that's how he's going to lower your taxes. Where did that come from? That's a load of crap. And all of a sudden, everyone loves PBS. When's the last time you watched PBS, Andrew? Were you watching Arthur? Was that the last time?
I have not watched PBS since the latest Arthur episode aired, and I will admit that. But yeah, again, I'm so sick and tired, and this is what I said earlier about the liberal media, is that they are going so much against the president, and that they feel that in order for them, and I'm mentioning the word them for a reason, to get attention. It is disgraceful. And John, Nick, you will agree with me on this. And I've been saying this since the president got elected. The media is out there to destroy his legacy, in which right now, this is the fastest working president that we've ever had.
Yep. All right, Andrew, next up on the list.
Okay, I am really going to make this quick because I have stuff to do, obviously.
Obviously.
All right,
this is your main occupation, right, John?
Field reporter. You should make a LinkedIn page.
You should.
Yes, please, but really, guys, I do have a schedule to keep because I'm supposed to be on the show tonight.
Okay, well let's get it moving along then.
Yes, okay. Number 7, musical performances the day before the inauguration, and the one thing that caught my attention was right after Vice President Pence got sworn in, the Mormon Tabernacle Choir performing God Bless America.
Yep, very good stuff. Unfortunately, I had some idiots in my office complaining about a 16-year-old girl singing the national anthem. Like, what's the big deal? I just don't understand why people, these feminist Hillary people who were marching, who were in my office, got to make fun of a 16-year-old little girl for singing the national anthem. What's wrong with that? It was a great opportunity for the young lady to get some national exposure. All right, next on the list.
All right. Number 6, immediately after the president gets sworn into office, he signs 3 executive orders.
And we mentioned those earlier. So now he's already doing great things. He's already making an impact.
Yes, all executive actions. It's incredible.
All right, next up.
All right, this is a combination of 5 and 4. And the reason why I say this is because at number 5, we're going to bring up the Clintons, because the president honorably mentioned them at the Capitol Luncheon. And this is where it transitions into number 4. Did anybody see Hillary and Bill's facial expressions during the inauguration? That's where number 4 comes in.
I did. Did anyone catch the video online of Hillary catches Bill checking out Melania? And it's hilarious.
I saw that.
This is my favorite thing about the Hillary thing. She gets out of the car looking pissed, and I can't blame her. And someone tweets, when you wake up and realize last night's Knicks game wasn't a dream. Because the Knicks had the worst loss ever the night before. With the terrible defense. But then Hillary was smiling for the cameras, of course, but then she was pissed again during the inauguration. All right, next up, Andrew.
All right, we are officially at the top 3. Okay, top 3. Number 3, Barack and Michelle Obama flying off in the helicopter.
Okay, so that was a big significant moment, obviously, as they departed D.C. For the last time until they return this week to continue living there. All right, next up.
Number 2, and also transitions into number 1 as well. Number 2, President Trump's 16-minute speech focusing on his campaign promises.
All right, so very powerful speech. And this is the biggest takeaway here. America first. America first. Make America American again. Make America great again. Now, John, me and you are probably on the same page here. Great speech, right to the point, and I think it accomplished a lot. What's your take on it, and what's your take on the terrible media bashing of it?
Well, I think the one thing that I take away from the speech that I really, really enjoyed, and I watched it, I got goosebumps. Like it was insane, because you go up there and you expect him to be, I don't know, you just expect the president to be, I guess the word to be presidential, but that's actually a negative word to me, because I think that's fake, to be phony. He's not phony at all. He goes up there and he gives a speech where he bashes the Washington establishment right in front of the Washington establishment. Basically, all these crony idiots behind me have been getting rich for years, and we got to put a stop to it. and he does it right in front of them. He pulls no punches. I was like floored. I was so surprised. I was so happy. And afterwards they were, oh, it's so dark, blah blah blah. Chris Matthews was like, what do you think? What do you think? Theresa May is thinking when she hears something like America First? Like, time out. Why would the leader of another country think our president would put their country first?
Yeah, so I don't understand why anyone's complaining about America First. I mean, if you don't want more money in your pockets, I don't understand I don't understand what's wrong with you. And I got some idiots in my office complaining, saying, what kind of speech was that? It sounds like he didn't even write the speech. It sounded like exactly like he sounded at the debates and his previous speeches. Like, what do you have to change his message all of a sudden because he's in the White House? And as a matter of fact, Donald Trump was really heavily involved in writing this speech, unlike probably every other president in history in the last 20, 30 years, for the most part. What do you think about that, John?
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, the speech sounded exactly like one of his stump speeches. That's a good thing. He's not campaign Trump and then President Trump like a lot of them are. If you listen to 2008 campaigns of Barack Obama, he sounds like Donald Trump. He's saying all these things about corruption, about the deficit, about all the stuff that he did nothing about. And Donald Trump's speech on the stump in front of a crowd, exactly the same after inaugural. Nothing changes. This is who I am. Now that I'm in power, I'm not going to do anything differently. And I think the great takeaway from that is there's been 3 days he's been in office, and he's already done 4 or 5 different things that were all on his checklist, all things that he promised to do. For people out there that haven't done it already, you go to his website, check out his contract for America. And, a lot of politicians do things similar to that. And they just, it's rhetoric, it's bullshit. But he's like literally going down the list and just taking care of stuff.
Listen,
so far, so good.
People are complaining. There's no way his 100 days is very important. There's no way he can do what he's going to set out to do. He's did a lot of things already in a few days. So wake up, stop watching the fake news, and just get with the program here, because good things are happening for America. And number one, Andrew,
the moment he takes the official oath of office.
All right, so there you had it. I really enjoyed that moment because I wasn't so much focused on him. It was just really nice to see his whole family behind him, almost in tears, very happy for him, and it was just a great moment to see. After all this family's been through, getting their names dragged through the mud, it's just that Donald Trump, he accomplished it, and he's ready. He showed his emotion. He's ready to unite the nation. John, what did you think when he took the oath?
Groundbreaking. We watched history. I really loved it. Back to his speech a little bit. He noticed he said we, and he said us and the country. He didn't say I, basically at all. He positioned it. That's what I hated about the reaction to it by the media. The pundit, class saying how it was dark and divisive. And then a couple days later, they're like, oh, you know what? It's anti-Semitic. And I'm like, what? That doesn't make any sense. Well, people in the 1930s were anti-Semitic, and they said America first. Pump the brakes.
First of all, for those people out there, and Andrew could have something to say about this for sure.
Guys. Sorry to interrupt, but I really do have to go. So, Nick,
this is ridiculous.
Before I hang up, two things. Nick, I think Braun Strowman's going to win the Royal Rumble, and I will discuss that more. I will discuss that more with you guys later tonight on Talk Wrestling with Frank Tadato and James DeLuca. It will be available on YouTube later tonight.
Andrew, one question before you go. Andrew, the rumor has that you're going to be doing a Q&A on your YouTube page. When's that going to happen? How can fans submit their questions, and where can they find that?
Yeah, Andy's Randomness on YouTube. I'm doing a Q&A video. I'm waiting to get more questions. But if there's going to be enough questions, the video will be done as soon as possible. But one more thing before I really wanted to go. If you're going to be in Long Island this weekend, and if you have no plans in Nassau, this weekend at the Sid Jacobson JCC, the Community Theater Players proudly present Anything Goes. And for more information, go on to my Facebook page Andy's randomness or check my Twitter handle because there is information on how to purchase tickets.
All right, Andrew, obviously you're in a hurry, so get lost. Thanks. And that's been the 10 at 10 with Andrew Pollock. Damn, John, what the hell is with him tonight? He's late. He's having phone problems. Last week he's having internet issues. And now this week he's in a hurry. This guy's falling apart.
I blame no one but myself. I got laid off and I don't do production meetings anymore. So we're going, this is live radio. There's no preparation.
Yeah. So listen, back to what I was trying to get out. Anyone who says Donald Trump is anti-Semitic is a moron. Okay. His son-in-law, who is a high-ranking official in the office now, Jared Kushner, is Orthodox Jew. His daughter, Jared's wife, Ivanka Trump, is an Orthodox Jew. And his grandchildren, Ivanka's children, are Orthodox Jews. So where is this anti-Semitic thing coming from, John? I just don't get it.
Well, so I think we're in the era now where the media says, that's racist, everything's racist. And, just about, bullshit, nonsense, anytime you've ever seen Black Lives Matters or Tumblr nonsense of, microaggressions, just, everything's racist. There was a time prior to that where everything was anti-Semitic. So, I'm a little bit older than you, not much, but I do recall there being a time, I'd say probably early 90s where it was like doing the OJ trial type stuff where is this anti-Semitic? Is that anti-Semitic? And in reality, it's not at all. And if you take, like you said, if you actually look at the issues, not only has Trump has, Jewish family members in his immediate family, in his circle of advisors, and his daughter, he's also extremely pro-Israel. And, he showed that already between stopping the money going to the Palestinian, to reaching out on Twitter after we didn't veto the Security Council in the UN. So they are using anything in their arsenal.
And if they decide to flip this, saying Donald Trump is very anti, Catholics or something because he's Jewish family ties, that's also wrong. The guy goes to church, and he had Archbishop Timothy Dolan from New York there to do the first prayer, which I really thought was great. And I liked it. It was lots of good New York touches to the whole inauguration. And I'm going to get back to some moments here that Andrew, I think, forgot. But let's talk about Donald Trump's son-in-law. Now, there was a 2020 on Thursday night called "The Trumps Take the White House," which was actually really good. But the thing that I learned is that Jared and his family are actually richer than the Trumps. So could you imagine Ivanka Trump's bank account? Yeah,
so I don't know him, honestly, but I'm more familiar with him than I was, 6 months ago. The Kushner, they own a lot of real estate, and real estate on 42nd Street and Times Square, and he's actually, so his father had retired, and he was the head of the company. He divested himself now, but he also bought the Observer, the New York Observer. So he kind of played a little bit into a little bit of media, but he made the vast amount of his money on real estate holdings. He's an extremely smart guy, and basically what he's done, he's brought like a cybermetrics, Freakonomics, big data approach to politics. Politics is very much an old person's game, and it changes slow. So taking a digital marketing campaign to campaigning it's worked out phenomenally. I think Kushner showed you that he was smarter than the establishment. The establishment thought, X, Y, and Z. The DNC thought they could, sort of shame you into voting for Hillary, and it didn't work. And,
so essentially, Jared over here is the Moneyball, Billy Beane, Paul DePodesta, hasn't seen the Moneyball in the MLB, of politics. He's changing the game.
Absolutely. He changed the game in real estate first. So if you read up on his Wikipedia page, you'll see about some of the deals that he did. And during the 2008 housing crisis, obviously everyone in real estate was hurting. But he sort of used that as an advantage to buy in with partners to properties that were more high-end and more expensive than he would normally be able to. And he grew his business dramatically over the last 10 years. the guy is really smart. He's very much Billy Bean, if you will. He's the Theo Epstein of political parties right now.
Right.
And
so
I think that the DNC could really take a big hard look at what he's done.
yeah. So hopefully, like, he's a senior official right now. People are saying, we don't know, we'll never know, that he might be more powerful than the chief of staff. We shall see. But back to the inauguration. Now, this is some things I'm really surprised Andrew to have on his list. Number one, did you see Joe Biden almost crying out of sadness?
I did.
And then they make the poor guy take the train back to Delaware. They couldn't even get him a car. I mean, geez, he was just the vice president.
Apparently, he likes trains because he's a weirdo. So he takes the train. When he was a senator for 30,000 years, he took the train all the time.
Right.
I feel bad for Joe because I know that his son died of cancer, and that was probably very hard for him. But he's just a typical Washington insider crony idiot. He got paired with Obama because Obama in 2008 was young and inexperienced, and he was extremely experienced. But he's not. He would have never been president, and he's never going to be president. He's going to go retire and do some nonsense.
I think he actually could have beat Hillary if he wanted to.
It depends, man. It really depends because honestly, I think Bernie should have beaten Hillary, but Hillary had the DNC, the media, everyone was pulling out all the stops to put their hand on the scale to help Hillary.
Very true. And then this moment was really touching to me, actually. It was when Mike Pence was being sworn in as vice president at the time, for the few minutes before Trump was sworn in, was president of the United States. And the man was basically in tears. He showed the emotion. He showed how proud he is to be an American and how excited he is to make a difference with this job. Did you happen to catch that?
I did. I'm not the biggest Pence fan. I was actually pulling for, Rudy or one of these other guys.
Chris Christie would have been amazing.
Yeah. But I will say that he's grown on me a lot. And you have to give it to him. Right there towards the end when the whole Pussygate story broke and Paul Ryan was, abandoning Trump, he could have stabbed him in the back and sort of distanced himself or hedged his bets a little bit, and he didn't. He stayed with them, and everyone in the world was saying that they were going to lose, and he didn't back off. So I do gotta respect that. I do give that to him. He's also
and people always say he has no emotion or whatever. He's a bad guy. He showed his emotion. He showed his human side, which was good. Something I was disappointed in, though, is that we only saw Chris Christie on TV for about 30 seconds, if that. We didn't see Rudy at all. And we didn't see Dr. Ben Carson. I wanted to see the three of them together celebrating with the president. That would have been an amazing moment.
For whatever reason, the cameras were very much, I don't know what channel you watched, but I don't know. I felt
watching Fox Business on my computer, and NBC was on the TV at work.
Yeah, I watched the Fox Business one. I feel like they sort of stayed on stage, like whoever was speaking, a little bit too much because a lot of times there's, I don't give a shit what Chuck Schumer has to say, he's a hack. He's gonna say some hacky bullshit. But what are you gonna do? The whole, the Mike Pence thing, I guess, to try to make him a little nicer. He's an Irish Catholic, which we haven't had a vice president or president who was an Irish Catholic since JFK. He's also a former Marine. So, those are a couple checks and boxes for me. I don't like career politicians, but, I think he's growing on me a little bit.
All right. So there you have it. That's our election talk. Obviously, exciting stuff and lots more to come in the next 4 years. And keep it locked right here on Sports Politics and More. We'll be discussing that. But, John, another big thing going on right now in the world is it's Girl Scout cookie season. The Girl Scouts are out there selling. I just purchased 6 boxes the other day for my cousin. So, John, I'm going to list the cookies here, all right? First, what's your favorite of the cookies, the Girl Scout cookies?
See, I'm a big Thin Mint guy. I love them.
The worst. That's the last on my list. That's why I posted a picture of all my cookies on @NicksFoodAndStuff Instagram, and I didn't put the Thin Mints in there because I think they're disgusting. But those are your number one.
You got the Samoan ones. What are those? The
Samoas. Those are my favorite. I got those at the top of the list. Delicious. Now, this year, they introduced a newer cookie called S'mores. Tried that one, a little too sweet. Have you ever had that one?
No, I haven't had a Girl Scout cookie in a couple years now.
All right. So other ones to mention here is you got the peanut butter patties called the tag-alongs. Basically
Okay.
like a chocolate shell with peanut butter on the inside. Ever have that one?
I have. It's all right. I'm a Reese's guy if I'm gonna eat peanut butter. So I'm not really into those.
Or, have you had the new Reese's with the Reese's Pieces inside of them?
No, but I have seen them and they do look delicious.
Yeah, I had it, and unsurprisingly, really, when you think about it, you really don't taste the Reese's Pieces, and the reason why is because it's basically the inside of Reese's, so it all just blends in. But it's a way for them to get our money. Otto says 6 boxes of fat pills. If you will, she loves the coconut chocolate ones, so the Samoas. And then Baconator says, Girl Scouts don't show up to sell cookies here. They heard them too fat. Other cookies, so we got the Do-si-dos, which is like a little peanut butter sandwich, similar to a Nutter Butter. And then the shortbread truffles, which I think they're pretty good. Just the shortbread butter cookie. Then there's some other weird ones here, which I would never even eat. Savannah Smiles, which I don't know what, like some sort of zesty lemon cookie. Then lemonades, which tastes like lemonade. I don't be chewing lemonade. And Toffee Tastic, which is crunchy toffee bits. Who the heck knows what else? And then Trios is a gluten-free peanut butter and oatmeal chocolate. But the bottom line here is Girl Scout cookies are very good. And the other big news here, John, is that Girl Scout cookies are actually sold online now, which makes it a lot easier to get them.
Oh, I didn't know that. See, now I'm gonna have to eat some more Girl Scout cookies. See, my niece is like 18 now, but when she was like 11 or whatever, that was like my source.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I haven't had them in a long time.
So that was my cousin lives in New Jersey, and I ordered through her online link for her personal page. So she's getting credit for 6 boxes. She don't have to even leave the house. I bought them from her, and they got shipped to my home. So. Very good. And Baconator was sorry. He says, "Don't laugh. It ain't funny being fat." Or apologize. And then Desert Hawk says, "Well, what a weird few years ago, a weird feeling or something. A few years ago back, I saw a Boy Scout troop being managed by a woman who was serving. All right. I mean, I don't really see too much of a problem with that."
Well, that doesn't happen though. They're not allowed to be Scout leaders.
Oh, really? Okay. So then, were you ever a Boy Scout?
No, but I was friends with Jimmy Verardi, and he was like an Eagle Scout to the 10th degree or whatever. So I used to go to picnics and stuff, and yeah, there's like no women there.
All right, yeah, very interesting there. All right, so Girl Scout cookies, and now we have to talk briefly here, but we have to mention it, of course. The moronic, idiotic, disgusting rioters on Friday who were so enraged they had to knock down the windows of a Starbucks and light a limo on fire. What a freaking joke. And they had black masks on, which is illegal in Washington, D.C. to wear a mask in public. So they should all go to jail. But, John, what's your take on that disgusting display by the rioters who didn't know they were rioting? They said they were protesting, but they didn't know what they were protesting.
Yeah, it's those anti-fascism people. They're the same, Occupy Wall Street. They do the same nonsense at every, World Trade Organization type thing. It's just a bunch of and this is the crazy thing. They're a bunch of rich, upper white middle class kids who are destroying shit like small businesses. So they destroyed that limo. They wrote the anarchy thing on it, and they lit the thing on fire. Yeah, we could teach them the rich people because we're getting their limo. Yeah, try that limo companies are privately owned and small businesses. And it turns out that particular limo was owned by a Muslim guy who was came here legally from Pakistan, and he owns a couple different limos, and he drives them around, and that's how he makes his living. And you destroyed his car. You destroyed his living. How did you stick that to anybody who's the quote unquote 1%? It's just so ridiculous, and it really makes me sick. The one good thing about it is in 2012, Obama changed the law so that if you are protesting or you get arrested in any event that is protected by the Secret Service, it's a felony that could lead to up to 10 years in jail. And over 225 people were arrested, and they're all getting charged with this, new status.
Excellent. And these people are a bunch of jerks, idiots, bastards. They should not be damaging property out of protest. They ain't protesting anything. They're just, let me grab a hammer and knock down the Starbucks window. That makes a lot of sense. But we're not going to give them any more time because they're waste. But let's really talk quickly. We got our Super Bowl matchup is set. Patriots-Falcons. We're not giving our picks. You can tune in next week for that. Unfortunately, John can't pick the Giants to win as well. But we got to talk about the Patriots. They rewrote the history books. You can check out the front page of BleacherReport.com if you want. Excellent little video there. But Tom Brady set a Patriots playoff passing record for yards against the Steelers in victory, 284 yards. He had 3 touchdowns, few caught by Kevin Hogan and Edelman, who combined for the most receiving yards in a playoff game for a duo. Kevin Hogan had 180 receiving yards as well, which is amazing. He's a guy from Monmouth College who, in college, he didn't play football until his senior year, and he had 12 catches for 140 yards, and now he's tearing it up in the AFC title game. Tom Brady's going to set the record for most Super Bowl appearances with 7. It'll also be Bill Belichick's 7th appearance in the Super Bowl as a head coach. But Bill Belichick, he's been in 10 Super Bowls. 30 years ago today, he won one in 1987 with the New York Giants when he was the defensive coordinator. Listen to this, John. Belichick, after the Super Bowl, will have appeared in 19.6% of Super Bowls, which is nuts. And New England's going to have the most Super Bowl appearances of all time with 9. Their historic run shows no signs of stopping. Falcons offense also lit it up, which was ridiculous. Packers defense just not good. But the Giants offense was worse because they couldn't score on them. So, John, let's leave with this. I really want to see Robert Kraft and Tom Brady with Donald Trump at the White House because the media is going to lose their shit to see those guys together.
Absolutely. And Donald Trump and Tom Brady are very good friends. Robert Kraft is also a very good friend. He was actually at the inaugural. Tom Brady has a Make America Great hat in his locker that when he did an interview after beating Pittsburgh last week.
And Tom Brady, he made a great point because he's a celebrity, but he said, why does it matter who I support? Why do you care? And it's true. Nobody should care who athletes or celebrities support. So leave the guy alone. Greatest quarterback of all time. And, good chance we'll be seeing him and Robert Kraft and the rest of the Patriots at the White House with President Donald J. Trump. And listen, you don't make Tom Brady mad. And that's going to do it for us, folks. John, great first show under the Trump administration, right?
Make this show great again. That's all I got to say.
This show doesn't have to be made great again because it's always been great. But we hope you enjoyed our show tonight. And, of course, you can catch us right back here every Wednesday, 8 p.m., 5 Pacific on UCY.tv. Radio Network's also available on TuneIn. If you have any questions or anything, tweet us. John's at SN_sports. I am, of course, I am at Nick_Durst. Whoops. You can also check out our show page, and that's at Spam UCY TV. It's at Spam_UCY TV. And check out Andrew's Q&A on YouTube or something. Maybe ask him why it was such a rush tonight.